Warning. The language used on the Real Rush may be offensive to some viewers. Happy fucking holidays, y'all! We got the holiday cupcakes and we got the birthday cupcakes because we celebrating Jesus' birthday up in this motherfucker. And if you down with that, then you got to bang your head to the opening riff.
Shut up and sit down.
Fucking California. Yeah, I'm John McClane. Argyle. I'm your limo driver, man. Alright, Argyle. What do we do now? I was hoping you'd tell me. It's my first time driving a limo. That's alright, it's my first time riding in one.
So why don't you come out to LA with your lady, man? She beat your ass up or something? Ha ha! I'm just playing, man. Put that gun away. Hey, you mind if we hit some tunes? Yeah, that'll work. Ain't you got any Christmas music? This is Christmas music, man. So your lady sees you, she runs into your arms, and y'all go home and make some Christmas babies. Doesn't that sound good?
Yeah, I can live with that.
I'll tell you what, man. I'm pulling to the garage over there, know what I'm saying? I'm having me a couple drinks and shit. I'll probably be drunk as shit by the time you call me. Anywho, give me a call, let me know how things go. If everything's all good, I'll bring your shit into the front desk. If not, let me know that too, and I'll score your hotel room.
You're alright, Argyle.
Just remember that when your ass sign for the tip, baby.
What's happening, y'all? Merry Christmas, everybody. Happy Hanukkah, everybody. Well, I can't say every. Let's say Happy Holidays, everybody. Merry Christmas to some. Happy Hanukkah to some. Happy Kwanzaa to some. Happy Boxing Day to some. Feliz Navidad to some. And whoever, whatever, other denomination that I may be leaving out, we'll just say Happy Holidays. And to be, all-inclusive and air. Dang, what's happening, y'all? It's been a minute. Welcome back to The Real Rush. This is not only episode 106 of The Joint, but this is the 2K20 Christmas special here. And who do you see before your very eyes that you haven't seen in such a long time here? I missed y'all too. Is the merriest moving professor of all time, the man John Dub. Back in the flesh, y'all. How y'all doing? How's everybody doing? How was everybody's Thanksgiving and everything? Hope everybody got through it all right. You know, we don't have to talk about the obvious too terribly much, but you know where I'm going with that. Especially going into this holiday, let's not make matters worse. You know, if you got a good safety train rolling, then keep that motherfucker rolling, man. That's good. There's been a lot of shit that's gone down in the last month. So when there was Thanksgiving and the holidays, your boy got a little lax. I'm not gonna lie. This time around, your boy just got lazy. Your boy started playing GTA and shit. But as you've been, well, you already knew that I was a big GTA head. But let's get on down to some even more serious shit. That I turned my addiction into something fruitful. As you've been seeing in the last couple episodes, I've been making movie clips out of my GTA 5 gameplay. Well, as you will be seeing, and what took this episode, but not actually, that's not what took this episode so long to come out. It's what I decided to say, you know what, fuck it, let's take a couple weeks off, and we're gonna drop an epic motherfucking Christmas special. Not only that, but we're gonna be interweaving some clips that I done made from GTA 5. I done took things a step further and started reimagining, refilming, if you will, some clips from some of yours and mine favorite holiday Christmas movies of all times that we'll be seeing throughout this episode. If you haven't already, I don't know what I'm doing, because this is going to be a madhouse episode, y'all. I have so many movies to review that we had to type the shit out because it would have taken way too long to write out a treatment for that shit. And hey, we just gonna jump right into it. But before we do that, the one big thing we gotta get on down to before we get down to the brass tacks of the 24 movies that your boy has on this episode's Real Rush Ticket is what dropped on 4K and Blu-ray last week. And you know, your man wasn't going to miss out on getting the official, exclusive Best Buy Steelbook of Tender. Yeah. But no, you can't have the digital code, because I fucking use the shit too. So get your own digital. No, don't get your own digital code. This is actually, Tenet's still playing in some theaters. I've noticed this. If you can find it still playing in the theater, hell, if you can still find it playing in the theater in the highest quality format possible, IMAX, Dolby Cinema, what have you, chances are slim on the highest quality format front, but in the theater nonetheless, if you can still find it, I highly recommend that you still see it in theaters while you can, before it's gone from theaters, possibly forever, at least for a long time, until they come out with some type of 20th anniversary, some shit down the line. But when that time comes, if you didn't get to see it in theater, make sure that you get the disc of The Joint. Make sure that you're buying the actual highest quality possible. I would get down to the whole like physical versus streaming joint, but I think I already did that on a couple episodes, so we ain't gonna go down that front. And if, you know, I don't know if I told this story when I reviewed Demolition Man a couple months ago, but let's go back to Tenet here. When I got Demolition Man on VHS, when that shit finally dropped in like March of '94, I watched it every day, like 2 or 3 times a day, like 3 months. This might be on that list after I filmed this episode when Christmas comes. Actually, I don't know, because we got some big shit coming up for Christmas too. But yeah, it feels good to own this motherfucker. And the crazy thing about this is this is the first time I've ever actually had to pay, technically, to see this movie, because every other time it was through some type of subscription, or, you know, me just flocking into a theater to catch a clip, catch a glimpse, which I still do every once in a while. But that's neither here or there. Get you some Tenet, y'all. One of the best films of the year. But for right now, let's get on down to, like I said, I think I counted right, the 24 movies, our biggest count ever. So I'm going to try to get through these as smoothly and as efficiently as possible here that we got down on this episode's Real Rush Ticket. And I'm gonna kick shit off with the big blockbuster for this week. I'm gonna call it the blockbuster because it's the big shit that just opened for this weekend. We filming this on Monday night. Just got finished watching Cincinnati beat the hell, well, not beat the hell, but with a unexpected win over Pittsburgh. That was an interesting game. Yet I digress. Let's kick shit off with Monster Hunter, the new action-adventure joint based on the best-selling Capcom video game series that follows an elite military force who are transported to a world that is just brimming with all kinds of fucked up monsters and beasts, and this elite military force led by Mila Jovovich and featuring like Megan Good and like T.I., Tip Harris and shit. I don't know exactly what he's going by. He goes, every single credit that he's in gives a different fucking name. So T.I., we just gonna call your ass T.I. They all gotta fight the beasts to try to find their way back home. I'm not sure if it's like back home to Earth or it's just another dimension apart. I might have missed out on that part, but nevertheless, this movie's badass, y'all. You got Paul W.S. Anderson directing the joint, the same guy who directed Event Horizon and Resident Evil. And you got Mila Jovovich, who was also in Resident Evil. So you're bringing that collabo back together. That's another surefire collabo. And then you got Tony Jaa in this joint as well, doing his badass shit. And I gotta admit, I've never played any of the games before, but being a gamer, I feel like I got a good gist on how to play the game just from watching this movie. It almost felt like a walkthrough. And not to mention, not to boot, it's a good Stony movie too, I feel. Because Ron Perlman even shows up in it at one point, and it's awesome. It's awesome. I saw it in IMAX yesterday up at AMC Potomac Mill. Awesome. I can't compare it accurately to the video game because, like I said, I had not played the video game, but let me know if you played the video game and you've seen it. What are your thoughts on how they adapted it? I thought the movie by itself, it was a bit jumpy with the cuts at times, but given the fare that's really going on in this movie, it's fucking awesome. And it almost felt like the cuts that were made, at least to me, and this is just my opinion that I'm throwing out there, this is a PG-13 movie. It almost feels like there was more gore, perhaps. More shit to it. More violence, perhaps, that they had to tone down to avoid an R rating. I understand that I just had to do that in a couple of his films. Event Horizon, to mention one, that got an R rating. That almost got an NC-17 rating. Nevertheless, Monster Hunter is some cool shit. Some shit just to disconnect your brain, and don't go to the mall. And you can't socially distance in the mall right now.
Hey yo, Zabisco. But for real though. Hey yo. So for everybody out there who's still asking, well, how the fuck can an outbreak still be going on, especially in America?
This is how, goddammit. Look at this shit. This is Potomac Mills on Sunday afternoon, the last fucking weekend before Christmas. I understand that it's the, one of the busiest shopping weekends of the fucking year. But I don't know how you're supposed to socially distance at shit like this. And I know what you're about to ask. Well, Dub, what the fuck are you doing out there without a mask on? Well, two things. Number one, I'm in the cozy confines of Tito. Alright, I've been in this motherfucker. Haven't got out him yet until I go into, which leads me to number two. I'm not going in there. I'm going in there. The fucking movie theater. And I seriously fucking doubt that this many motherfuckers are out here at the theater lined up to go see the latest Hilary Swank and Michael Ealy thriller. So, there you go. That's my 2 cents, or inflation. That's my 20 cents, and just be safe and healthy, and happy holidays, y'all. Have fun, y'all. Love Jada. Peace.
Don't go pack the mall. Just take it like a early time. Go see Monster Hunter and enjoy yourselves, because I think you will, regardless of if you played the game or not as well. Monster Hunter, now playing everywhere. Check that shit out. Next up on this episode's Real Rush Ticket is a new, I guess you could say, erotic thriller. It's called Fatale, starring Hilary Swank
and Michael Ealy. Now, Michael Ealy's up in this joint as a married man who ends up having a one-night stand with Hilary Swank. Now, here's where a bit of a twist comes in. Michael Ealy returns home to his wife, and then sometime later, the house gets broken into, right? So they call the cops. And who ends up showing up as the lead investigator on the case but Hilary Swank? Oh shit. Is she like there on the straight up, or is she there to blow Michael Ealy's cover? Or what's going on with this shit, yo? And just as twisted as many twists and turns as you might have just visualized right there, as I just threw as much as I could out there, I feel are packed into this movie. I called this, before going into it, Fatal Attraction with a cop twist, but it's like that, but not, and more on a different tangent. Directed by Deon Taylor, the same dude who did Traffic from a couple years ago with Omar Epps, and The Intruder with Megan Good and Dennis Quaid from last year, and a couple other films. He's been on a pretty good roll the last couple of years. Does this live up to the to that same momentum? I'd say so. I'd say so, because this is the way that it's laid out. It sounds kind of simple, like, alright, this is something that we've seen before, but there's so much more to it than what even the trailer that even looks twisted enough or lead you to believe make you want to see this movie even more. That left me like, oh shit, I went into this just expecting your average, alright, I've seen some shit like this before. Nothing new. But nah, Deon Taylor has a way of throwing something into like the third of the way through the second act that just blows your mind and knocks your head off your shoulders off course and throws you for a loop. And he does that again with Fatale. Check this out as well. This should be played. I think this is playing everywhere. Even Cinema Arts and Angelica, I believe, is showing this. So Fatale playing everywhere. Check this joint out. Don't bring the kids to this one. Monster Hunter, on the other hand, it's PG-13, but I don't think it's too terrible. It kind of reminded me of a more toned down Starship Troopers. Yeah. Well, now that I mentioned that, I'd say cap it off at like 10, maybe 11. Or, I don't know. I was introduced to that younger than that. So, be a parent and use your own discretion. Nevertheless, the next movie up on this episode's Real Rush Ticket. This is not one for the kiddies, but it is for the holidays, as this is a new dark holiday comedy action film. This joint is called Fatman. Let me break this down for you. So Fatman, you got Mel Gibson up in this joint, playing Kris Kringle, Santa Claus himself. He's not the Santa Claus that we know, or that we've seen portrayed in like Hallmark cards and on wrapping paper and like Macy's Thanksgiving parades and the ones at shopping malls and shit like that. No. This is like a world-weary Santa Claus. He's like almost immortal, the same as Santa Claus, or immortal, I guess you could say, the same as Santa Claus. But he's been around. He's seen what's been going on in the world, and he's not happy with that shit. He feels the joy has been sucked out, and because of that, it's sucking his joy out. But nevertheless, this Santa Claus, he's got to fight off an assassin, played by my boy Walton Goggins, who's been sent by a vengeful kid who received a lump of coal for Christmas for being a little shit. Got what he deserved, and this is what happened. So, boom, right there, right from that little plot outline right there. Even I can't explain it as well as the Amazon Prime Video synopsis read it, but it's just as magnifique as it sounds. Even more so. This just became one of my, I wouldn't say one of my top 5 favorite Christmas movies, but it's certainly
up there. Definitely up there with the Bad Santa. I say that this easily, if we're going to put it in that dark Christmas, kind of funny, but still at the same time kind of like, oh shit, like, because there's some crazy, like, real shit that goes on in this movie. I mean, it's off the wall, but it's still violent as hell. I say that Fatman not only rivals Krampus, and I did like Krampus, but I think Fatman is better than Krampus. So for all you Krampus lovers out there, there's your bold fucking statement of the 2K20 Rush Special of this year, bitches. Ha ha. Nevertheless, Mel Gibson as the world-weary, tired of being shot at Santa Claus, fucking awesome. Walton Goggins as the slick yet still kind of off in some way, as only Walton Goggins can play, assassin, awesome. The kid that plays the little shit, awesome. Marianne Jean-Baptiste playing Mrs. Claus, fucking awesome. This whole movie was fucking awesome. I bought it. I bought the digital HD for $7. It was there. You could have rented it for $7 or you could have bought it for $7. So why not? Yeah. If I could find a disc version, I'll buy that shit too. But that should tell you something right there. The fact that I went ahead and bought something on digital before buying it on disc first. It's that good. And it did not disappoint that digital only own of mine. Not saying you should go the same route. But nevertheless, check out Fatman and enjoy it for the holidays, yo. Get some eggnog with your favorite shit in it or whatever. Get a little bit of 420 going on. It's green. It's a green holiday. It's a green holiday. Make it elite, baby. And enjoy the fuck out of Fatman, y'all.
I'm Amanda Hunsaker. I was on Famous Shame. I went to Palos Verdes Altos High School. I was on Famous Shame. I do cocaine. I done did videos. Please don't tell my papa. Oh wow. Look at the skyline out there. Look how beautiful everything looks. Man, I wish I was down there with everybody else. I wish I could fly. I said, did you know I went to Palos Verdes High School? I done did a lot of goddamn cocaine tonight. I wonder if it can make me fly, 'cause I'm high. Lot of cocaine, and I think that shit had some drain cleaner in it or something. I feel high as a motherfucker. I wish I could fly like an eagle to the sea. Fly like an eagle, let my spirit follow me.
Next up on this episode's Real Rush Ticket, let's get down to some new Netflix fare. Now, your boy's been on quite the run of seeing Netflix movies before they hit Netflix, like in the theater. So I'm actually paying what a normal person would pay like per month to go see one of the, well, we'll say that like per every like 3 movies or per every 2 movies, something like that. But it's worth it because A, these have all looked awesome on the theater screen, and B, that shit goes towards the theaters too. You gotta hashtag save your cinema, man. Check out that website too, because Cinema Arts has been promoting that website as well. Nevertheless, the first Netflix movie I want to get down to is a new sci-fi joint starring and directed by George Clooney. This joint's called The Midnight Sky, and it's based on the novel Good Morning Midnight by Lily Brooks Dalton. And this follows a scientist, played by George Clooney, who must venture through the Arctic Circle with a young girl to warn off a returning spaceship following a global catastrophe. Not even going to go into what the catastrophe was, but shit went bad for pretty much all of us. You and me, motherfuckers. But seriously, it's a different take on a sci-fi film. What did I tell the guy up at Angelica after seeing this? The best way that I could describe The Midnight Sky is it's Arctic meets The Martian. Now those are 2 really fucking good movies right there. Arctic made one of the Real Rush top 11 lists of last year or whatever year it came out. And that came out like at the beginning of the year, so that's how good that movie was. Martian, I believe I did put that on my top 10 list of whatever for 2015. It was, I believe I was rooting for that for Best Picture at the Oscars that year because it was like one of the few that I had seen going into that. I believe that was the year that Spotlight won. So that kind of culmination, that kind of combo, sounds like it should be off the chain, right? Let's not slow you roll on that. This is what I had to tell homeboy up at Angelica too. He sounds like, that sounds amazing. I said, I know it sounds amazing. It's not quite to that point. It does have, it's funny moments. It's touching moments. It does have its intense moments, the outer space moments. It's got a stellar cast. Aside from Clooney, you got Felicity Jones, you got David Oyelowo, Demian Bashir, Kyle Chandler's up in it. Good, just a good overall cast. It's just a different take. And if you know George Clooney's movies, he almost had his own type of, he has his own type of takes. He has his own type of style when it comes to certain genres. Like, for example, from a couple years ago, Suburbicon. That is one of, in my honest opinion, one of the most undervalued and underrated movies of the last decade. Like, it was just not taken in the context that it was presented in. That's the best way I could put it without going off on some different on a different tangent. This has a very retro feel to it. I like the color schemes and such. And it did feel like there was a lull at a certain point, but it does all to come together at the end. I would go into this good-spirited, and that's all I'm going to leave you at. But it's a great movie, nevertheless. It should still be playing in some theaters. I'm not sure what the Netflix drop date of this is, but it looked amazing on the theater screen. Playing at the Angelica, if you're in the DC metropolitan area, to go see that shit. So, go see that shit. Midnight Sky, check it out. It's some primo fare. Just be ready for a different take on sci-fi, outer space, global catastrophic shit. Keep that on your mind and you're good to go. So keeping in tune with the Netflix roll here,
Next joint up on this episode's Real Rush Ticket. Let's get down to The Prom. This is based on the 2019 Broadway musical of the same name. This film follows high school student Emma, who has been banned from her high school's prom in a small town in Indiana due to her sexual orientation. It's fucked up. Meanwhile, Broadway stars Dee Dee and Barry, played by Meryl Streep and James Corden, respectively, looking to resurrect their public images, flock to support Emma's cause in an effort to boost their careers. This is really cool, too. This was a really cool movie. Not necessarily, well, yeah, even to see on the theater screen. But just the message that the movie brought about inclusion, as well as the message that it brought about flocking to causes for the right reasons. And I could go off on a whole different tangent on that, but that'll be a whole different thing. But aside from that, the musical numbers in this, you can usually sense when they're coming. At times they do pop out of nowhere, and it does feel like a little bit much at times, but I don't think it's too overly. You got Meryl Streep, you got James Corden, you got Nicole Kidman rocking what I am still convinced were We Love Colors tights throughout the entire film. I am looking to We Love Colors to look into this, to challenge me on this. I want to know if that's accurate or not, because if I could spot that, then the nylon eye is on point. Keegan-Michael Key, Tracy Ullman even shows up in it at one point. See if you can spot Tracy Ullman in it, because that shit blew my mind. And a number of others. Andrew Rannells is up in it. And it's just an overall feel-good movie. It did have me tearing up a little bit by the time it was all ending. But the way that it all comes together on screen, it almost, because you can't beat the king, it almost had that of like a La La Land feel to it. So if you enjoy La La Land, you're going to definitely enjoy this movie. But regardless, I think you'll enjoy this movie. This is great for the family to watch, especially over the holiday. This is on Netflix as we speak. Check it out and enjoy yourself. And make yourself feel good after watching The Prom. And take in the messages, I should say, that it's trying to convey to you. The Prom, now playing on Netflix. Which leads us to, next up on this episode's Real Rush Ticket, in line with the Netflix joint. Based on the acclaimed August Wilson play, this joint is called Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, starring Viola Davis and Chadwick Boseman in his final starring role, y'all. That's why I had to see this movie in the theater. I was like, yo, I'm going to this joint, paying my good, hard-earned money, see Chadwick one final time in the theater, y'all. As it should be. This film depicts one hot-ass day during a recording session at a studio in 1920 Chicago, where the temperature ain't the only thing flaring up as tensions reach their peak between Ma Rainey, played by Miss Davis, her band members, including trumpeter Levy, played by Mr. Boseman, and some white and a couple of Caucasian music executives, over different versions of Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. There's Ma Rainey's version, and then there's Levy's version, but we ain't going to go too deep into the plots of that. But there's conflicts within the group, and some of the conflicts within the group cause Levy to have to face some of his personal demons from the past at some points in the movie. Let me not give too much away. I had never seen the play or anything before, or read it. This movie, first off, ovation worthy. Not just for Chadwick Boseman's performance. We're gonna get to that in a second. But overall, First up. Okay, so that was first up. Second up. Viola Davis, in my honest opinion, unless somebody else comes along and just does a role that blows her shit completely out the water, she just won Best Actress at the Oscars for playing Ma Rainey. I'm putting that out there right now. Unless somebody else comes along between now and nominations, Viola Davis just fucking won Best Actress at the Oscars. Chadwick Boseman as Levy. Now, what I'm about to say here is all dependent on whether or not The Five Bloods will be under Oscar consideration, given that it was only on Netflix. I'm not sure where it would fall under the guidelines of the pandemic year, because it's been an odd year for those rules and shit. So, if my previous statement from when I reviewed that a couple months ago rings true, then I'm saying right here that not only does Chadwick get at least the Best Supporting Actor nomination for the Five Bloods, but he also, his swan song is going to be at least a Best Actor nomination for his role as Levy in Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. He brought a presence to this role, y'all, that not only did you could sense like he knew that this was possibly his last shit that he was gonna, his last knock it out the park, to put the Jackie Robinson pun in there, role that he was ever gonna play. And not only did he bring that to the table in 100-fold, but the intensity that he brought to this role would make Denzel, who produced this joint, would make even Denzel just because that's what happened. I'm not sure if it's still playing in theaters or not. If it is, if you can find a theater where this is still playing, go support it. But if you can't, I believe this is now playing on Netflix. So regardless, catch Chadwick Boseman's swan song. This is primo shit right here. Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. Catch it ASAP. One of this episode's Rush main events, y'all. ASAP. Ma Rainey's Black Bottom.
Fist with your toes. Son of a bitch. It actually works. Fist with your toes.
Next up on this episode's Real Rush Ticket, let's get down to some romantic fare here. Ooh. Cause that's so holiday-ish. Right? Yeah. First up in the the romantic fare. This joint is called Wild Mountain Thyme. And this is based on the director of this, John Patrick Shanley, the same guy who wrote Moonstruck. He did a play a couple years ago called Outside Mullingar, and this is based on his very own same play. And this tells the tale of lifelong friends, Irish farmers, Anthony and Rosemary. And while Anthony seems to be oblivious to Rosemary's affections, his heart gets a mighty kick in the arse after his father reveals that he's going to be selling, he plans to sell the family farm to his American cousin. His father, played by Christopher Walken, up in here. And I went in here I went there, as I stated in my Instagram post, I came here for Christopher Walken's Irish Brogue, which is, it's a little off at points, but nevertheless, he still did a good job. And overall, I thought this was a cute dramedy, y'all. Okay, so I mean, it was refreshing to see a multicultural take on love, relationships, and the lack of a better term, fate that sometimes surround it. If that makes sense. I think Walken still did a fine role. I think Emily Blunt as Rosemary and Jamie Dornan as Anthony, their chemistry was
pretty good. And you had John Hamm rolling through as the American cousin, and he was coming through as like the somewhat arrogant American, and fucking John Hamm can fucking pull that off fucking perfectly. So, Wild Mountain Thyme. And there's a character in there, Old Creedy, I believe his name was, who got a kick out of me every time he showed up on screen. This is a good theater watch. I noticed that it was also on demand too. Whichever your best way of seeing it, I did have one of my boys ask me if it was worth renting. Yeah, absolutely. This is something to definitely kick back and enjoy. It's very witty. It's kind of got a little bit of a dry wit. You got to be on your P's and Q's with your listening ears on this. Director Shanley actually got criticized on the Irish accents that he used in this movie, and he said that he did so because if he were to use true Irish accents, then the American audience would not be able to truly understand it. And I can kind of get down to that to a point. So, good adaptation of his own play. I would assume I've never seen his play, but it makes me want to see it. Wild Mountain Thyme, you should see it. If it's still in theaters, check it out. If not, you know what to do. Which leads us to next up on this episode's Real Rush Ticket. All my life. All my life. I prayed with someone like Jessica Ross. She fine. She fine as hell. She fine as hell, y'all. For real though. But if I go on that tangent, we ain't gonna get through this. All My Life, new romantic drama. This is based on the true story of Solomon Chow and Jennifer Carter, whose intense love for each other drove them to go ahead and get married despite one of them having been recently diagnosed with liver cancer. This is also a pretty cute dramedy, man. We had ourselves very good chemistry between Harry Shum Jr., who played Solomon, and Jessica, who played Jennifer. Jay Farrow even shows up in it at one point. And it was cool to see him in a still funny yet somewhat serious role. And as cute of a dramedy as this is, as I should say, and it still makes a good date night movie. I don't feel like it really offers terribly anything new as far as like anything you might have already previously seen. The narrative in it is a little bit different than what you're used to, and that's actually all I'm going to say about that, because I don't want to potentially give anything away. So, that should pique your interest enough to still want to see this. I'm not sure if this is still playing in theaters or not. This is a Universal picture, so there's that crazy ass, like after 17 days it can now go straight to streaming. I think it's already been 17 days. But if you and your love are out and about, hopefully avoiding the crowd places, and you can find a nice chill spot to go, and it's safe to go, and we have a nice little date night out for Christmas. And the movies are still one of the safest places to be. I don't see a lot of people going to see this on Christmas, unless a lot of people see this episode, because so many people watch The Real Rush. But it'd be a nice chill movie to go see as a holiday romance movie, even though it's nothing Christmas about it, but still a good date night movie nevertheless. So, All My Life, check it out. Which leads us to, didn't I say romantic shit? Yes. That's gonna lead us to Superintelligence. This is a HBO Max original. A new romantic comedy that follows Carol Peters, played by Melissa McCarthy, who's an average and earnest woman who was selected for observation by a rogue superintelligence program voiced by James Corden. And this program may or may not destroy the world, with humanity unwittingly depending on Carol to prove that we're all worth saving, man. This movie's catching a lot of shit. Like, a lot of negative reviews. But then again, I read that it's mostly from critics. I'm interested to see what a lot of y'all are thinking about Superintelligence, because I can't be the only one that peeped this when it dropped on Thanksgiving. It's been almost a month now. I mean, it's not great, but it had me laughing at a couple moments, especially Octavia Spencer's cameo up in it. That's not even giving anything away. Just be on the lookout for it and you'll laugh your ass off. That was a great moment in this movie. And you got Bobby Cannavale up in it playing Melissa McCarthy's love interest, and my homeboy Brian Tyree Henry's up in it, and a few other folks. I mean, it's an somewhat unrealistic, offbeat romantic comedy, but I thought it was still pretty well executed for Melissa McCarthy and husband director Ben Falcone, who also shows up in the movie. So if you like that collabo, I think you'll enjoy this as well. This is another one of those disconnect your brains, just kick your feet up and relax and don't take shit too seriously. Just enjoy what you're seeing on the screen there, and I think you'll get a kick out of it. And it's a good stoner film too. Superintelligence, exclusive on HBO Max, but now playing on HBO Max. You got any more romantic comedies? I don't have any more romantic comedies, but I do have another romantic. Just one more romantic film. Just one more for you. This joint is called Ammonite. It's a new romantic drama set in 1840s England that is loosely inspired by the life of paleontologist Mary Anning, played by Kate Winslet, and her, we're not sure if this next part's true or not, but her romantic relationship with Charlotte Murchison, played by Saoirse Ronan. And Charlotte was entrusted to Mary's care by Charlotte's rich explorer husband. He just goes off and about, exploring and touring things while he leaves Charlotte, who was not well at the beginning of the movie, clearly under Mary's care, who, she's, doing her own thing. And she got sick-ass, melancholy Charlotte tagging along, but they end up striking something quite, Yes. This almost kind of reminded me of, like, Call Me By Your Name, but with a historical period drama setting. That's the best way that I can describe this movie. Is it as good as Call Me By Your Name? Not quite. Not quite, but it is still pretty good. Unfortunately, well, I shouldn't say unfortunately, but same as All My Life, it doesn't quite offer anything new as far as, same-sex relationships movies go. But it's still a good drama. It's still it's still good to see that shit. So I enjoyed it. And the chemistry between Winslet and Ronan was fucking hot at points. So, Ammonite. Check it out. I believe this is also a dual theater and on-demand as well, but theater it up, y'all. You know what I'm gonna say. Check it out. Ammonite, y'all.
Merry Christmas! Shitter's full!
Next up on this episode's Real Rush Ticket. This is a movie that I have been waiting to see for months. We were supposed to see this when movie theaters reopened just over 3 months ago. This joint is called, finally, Cutthroat City. The new action film from the RZA of the Wu-Tang Clan, from that Woo, baby. The RZA bringing us a joint that follows 4 lifelong friends in New Orleans who turn to pulling off a dangerous ass heist after Hurricane Katrina leaves them with simply no other options. They can't pay the bills, they can't support the families, so on and so forth. Yo, this, Man with the Iron Fist, I didn't see the second one, but the first one fucking rocked me to my core, man. If that didn't prove already that RZA could be a force to be reckoned with in the directorial world, this does. Don't sleep on the RZA's director skills, y'all. This man brings, like,
almost like a blaxploitation feel into a 2000 setting. Yet at the same time, this has set it off and kind of Juice-like feel to it. And the cast in it is off the chain. So you got Shameik Moore leading the cast from Dope, and the voice of Miles Morales in Into the Spider-Verse. You got Demetrius Shipp Jr., who after All Eyes on Me, just because he looks just, no makeup needed, already it looks just and sounds just like Tupac. Everybody already wrote him off saying he can never play anybody but another Tupac. He proves them wrong in this movie. Wesley Snipes shows up in this joint, and in a supporting role. And in the short time he's in this film, y'all, it's one of the best work he's ever done. Ever. On screen. Yeah, I just said that. Ever. On screen. The narrative and the way that RZA wrote and filmed, or not wrote, but filmed and just storyboarded, best way I could put it, this movie is comic book magnifique to its finest. With, you could see the Tarantino and the Rodriguez and, like I said, the blaxploitation influences in it. And this movie will also throw you for a twist that by the time that the credits roll, gonna be, oh, you gotta find your face, dog. You gotta find your face. Cutthroat City, now on demand, so you can see it anywhere. I really wish that I had seen this in the theater, but man, it's awesome. And to get back to Shameik Moore, proving that he could still hold, that he could definitely hold down the lead role, y'all. Cutthroat City, check that shit out as soon as possible. Next up on this episode's Real Rush Ticket, a new comedy that follows two half-brothers. So it's aptly called, Yes, it's aptly called half-brothers, who learn of each other's existence from their dying father, whose last wish is for them to embark on a road trip together to learn about his life, including why he had to abandon one of them in Mexico years before the other one was born. And as cliche as it was, as far as like road trip movies go, I still thought that this was a pretty well done and all-out hilarious comedy. I laughed out hard quite a lot throughout this film. Did it have its... It did have striking similarities, I must admit, though, to not so much Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, but more so Due Date. It almost felt like a mirror Due Date, but with the... Instead of a pregnant wife, you had one of them who was about to get married, and then to add to the twist, their father's dying. So, aside from that, if you can kind of back away from that, this is still an enjoyable comedy. So, don't let that distract you too much from it. It didn't for me. It didn't for me. Even though I picked up on it, there's still things in that happened in this movie that are hilariously different than what happened in Due Date. So, Half Brothers should still be playing everywhere. It came out in time for the holidays. It specifically said that shit in the trailer. I remember because I saw that trailer a million times. Check it out. Yeah. Not only myself, but this is one of the movies that actually had one of the more people in the audience within recent weeks in my theater experiences. And everybody who was in there, who was in the joint, enjoyed Half Brothers. So, Half Brothers, find it where you can and check it out, y'all.
Welcome to the party, pal!
Next up on this episode's Real Rush Ticket, let's get down to some classic-ish fare. And I say ish because we're going to kick things off here with The Godfather Coda, The Death of Michael Corleone. This is a recut version of the 1990s
The Godfather Part 3. That while still concluding the story of Michael Corleone, contains a different beginning and a different ending, with an introduction by director Francis Ford Coppola, as well as a few notable scene re-edits and cuts, shortening the film from its original version by 4 minutes, and overall, in my honest opinion, improving that of the original film. Now, I will admit that leading up to this movie, just days beforehand, I had only seen the first Godfather. I hadn't seen the second or the third one. The striking one about that is the second one. I know, that was one of my deepest, darkest movie secrets for the longest time. But now I can't say shit, because not only have I seen it, but I went ahead, pulled out my Blu-ray trilogy of the joint. I got it sitting over there, and watched all 3 of them damn things back to motherfucking back. Back to Mac to motherfucking back. That's what I just said. It took about 11 hours or so. And man, was that a hell of an experience. 2 is like 2 movies all its own. And I really liked 3. And I really didn't find Sofia Coppola's acting all that, terrible. Then again, it did seem like she was getting like acting lessons from like the Tommy Wiseau like school of acting and shit. But then again, I enjoyed The Room. Nevertheless, having recently seen The Godfather Part 3 for the first time, and this, I could accurately compare the two. And I really liked, like I said a couple moments ago, The Godfather Part 3. I really, really liked it. And The Godfather Coda is a better cut of The Godfather Part 3. So, if you're one of the skeptics who hasn't seen The Godfather Part 3 yet because of what you heard about it, or if you were one of those that wasn't really feeling it after seeing it, that feeling that it really didn't fit with the other 2, check out Coppola's new cut of The Godfather Coda. This unfortunately was only in theaters for just a few days before it dropped on 4K and Blu-ray. Get it in the highest quality disc possible. Add it to your collection if you don't already have The Godfather in your collection. But this is a must-see and a must-own, y'all. The Godfather Coda. So continuing on with the classics here, another never-before-seen by these eyes movie that I had to see before we get to the next movie after this one. We getting down to Citizen Kane, y'all. I had never seen Citizen Kane before, and it just happened to be on HBO Max. Like, bet. We're watching that shit. One of the ultimate best films ever. Of all time in the history of anything. Yes. This is the story of this tells the story, I should say, of newspaper magnate Charles Foster Kane's life, and how it's told from different accounts upon his death, as a reporter looks to seek the meaning behind Kane's last word. Rosebud. Orson Welles wrote, directed, co-wrote, we'll get to that in a second, but directed, produced, starred as Mr. Kane in this. Fantastic job by Mr. Welles. Outstanding job with the screenplay by Herman J. Mankiewicz. We'll get to him in a second. This film, not only do you, if you haven't seen this before, do you start to get like all the references and all like TV shows and shit that have referenced this movie since, but this movie was, how can I say, technically, notice the stress of it, like technically before its time. The way that Welles edited this film, how it was cut, how it was shot, you still see those practices in the best films of now. Nolan, Tarantino,
Coppola, even our boy Bong, who did Snowpiercer and Parasite. Every single one of those peeps, you can see, Tony Scott even, you can see where they got their influences from. And a lot of that shit came from Citizen Kane. One of the best movies of all time. You guys to see it. Especially if you're in the art of filmmaking, such as your man. This is, I can't believe it took me so long to see this movie. Filmmaking 101. I would include this in my filmmaking 101 class easily. Easily, man. Citizen Kane, I hope that it's still playing on HBO Max. That's an easy way to find it. But if not, they just came out with an anniversary edition on Blu-ray a couple years back. Find it on disc in the highest quality possible. I certainly will. Citizen Kane, check it out if you haven't. And this was timely, even though it had been on HBO Max for some time. Because little did I know, is that what was coming out in theaters before it dropped on Netflix a couple weeks later was a new film from our man David Fincher, a new dramedy based on Herman J. Mankiewicz called Mank. The next movie on this episode's Real Rush Ticket, starring our man Gary Oldman as screenwriter Herman J. Mankiewicz, and this is based on the true story of Mank's development of the screenplay for Citizen Kane, but this film also chronicles the influences that Mankiewicz himself encountered over the years that influenced the characters that he wrote in to the movie Citizen Kane. And these are all told in their own Kane-ish type flashback ways. Outstanding film, y'all. Outstanding film. I think we have ourselves, not only do we have ourselves another Rush main event, I think Gary Oldman easily gets himself a Best Actor nomination for this. We had Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross doing the score for this, as they've collaborated with Fincher many, many times. Amazing score. This had an Ed Wood feel to it almost, and Ed Wood's one of my favorite fucking films of all time. So great job by Mr. Fincher. I wouldn't be surprised if this gets a Best Picture nomination. I would not be surprised one bit. In fact, I'm rooting for it. Because just the same as Citizen Kane, you still see how, without giving too much away, it still touches on the themes of like power and corruption and the methods behind such things. And they're both great products. So, you got Netflix and HBO Max. You got yourself a double fucking feature right there, man. Citizen Kane and Mank. Watch Citizen Kane first, then watch Mank. And insane in the membrane is all that. So yeah, Citizen Kane and Mank, that's double feature. Amazing double feature right there. But most certainly don't miss that shit, y'all. Check them out.
Who are these people here on Rob Slanigan's property? Who do you people think you are?
How are you doing?
I'd be doing great if you weren't standing on Rob Slanigan's property. But seeing as in that it's Christmas, I'll tell you what I'm gonna give you. I'm gonna give both of you to the count of 10 to get your ugly, yellow, No good keisters off my property before I pump your guts full of lead. 1, 2, 10. Keep the change, you filthy animals.
Next up on this episode's Real Rush Ticket, I want to get down to 2 movies that are similar in a certain way, where you have the characters within, for lack of a better term, you know, coming to terms with the past or their family and such. So let's kick things off here with there's a reason that I kept this one out of the Netflix chunk earlier in this episode. This joint is called Hillbilly Elegy, which is based on the 2016 memoir of the same name by J.D. Vance. And this follows J.D. during his time at Yale Law, who, upon returning home for a family emergency, is forced to confront his own upbringing. This is directed by Ron Howard, and this is another movie that's not getting the greatest reviews overall, not just from critics, but overall. I heard that a lot of people are shitting on it due to the portrayal of people in small town Ohio. I can't speak for that myself, so I can't accurately talk on that subject. I thought it was a good film, though, given the performances by Miss Amy Adams as Vance's mother in this, but even more so by Miss Glenn Close as Vance's grandmother, Mama, up in Hillbilly Elegy. She is the one who is the shining light, the driving force, the winner in Hillbilly Elegy, And I wouldn't be surprised, just the same as Viola Davis, as I stated earlier, for her for Best Actress. I would not be surprised unless somebody else comes along within the next couple months and just knocks some shit straight out the park. Glenn Close just won Best Supporting Actress at the Oscars this year. And that, I think her performance alone is well enough worthy to check this joint out on Netflix. This has been on Netflix for about the last month now, so definitely check it out if you haven't checked it out already. But I thought it was a decent drama, y'all. So check that joint out. And it was a good. I thought it was a good look at, you know, not only looking to family, but, you know, not forgetting where you come from and shit. And that's all I'm gonna say about that. So check out Hillbilly Elegy and let your man know what you think. Alright? Which leads me to what's next up on this episode's Real Rush Ticket. And this is a coming of age of sorts tale. This joint is called Uncle Frank. This is a new dramedy exclusive to Amazon Prime Video, set in 1973, that chronicles the close relationship between freshman college student Beth, played by Sophia Lillis. That's Sophia Lillis. There you go. And her professor, Uncle Frank. Her professor, Uncle Frank. There you go. A professor who just happens to be her uncle. There you go. That's the best way I can say it. Played by Paul Bettany, who is a gay man who's closeted from his family. Now, their bond, as well as being introduced to Frank's boyfriend, Wally, their bond is strengthened as they travel to Frank and Beth's hometown for the family patriarch's funeral. Now, this forces Frank to confront not only his family, but some of his past demons as well. And man, now out between Hillbilly Elegy and Uncle Frank, I would definitely have to turn the tide in favor of Uncle Frank. This hit me hard, like tears, but it also had me laughing hard too. Like, it's a great blend of comedy and drama. Lillis and Bettany both doing magnificent jobs in their respective roles. The real winner of this film is the screenplay itself. That deserves the biggest attention coming out of Uncle Frank. And once again, just the overall message of this movie. Because, I mean, even though, I mean, this was hard for somebody to come to terms with back in 1973. It's still hard almost 50 years later. So hopefully this will help anybody who might be struggling with, you know, having to tell their family that kind of thing, or anything. This will help them with your struggle. But this not only inspiring, but it's also an entertaining look into such as well. Like I said, it does have its laugh out loud moments in this movie. Outstanding film, an outstanding period piece. You know I'm a sucker for 1970s films. Nevertheless, Prime Video, don't miss Uncle Frank. We have ourselves another Rush main event here, y'all. I'm gonna have to do like another rundown of all the Rush main events here tonight, because I might fuck up and miss some shit. But Uncle Frank, definitely do not miss this joint. Check it out, y'all.
Is Potomac Mills on 5 o'clock? No, Aunt Bethany, that's just the tiki torches over at Bahama Breeze.
Next up on this episode's Real Rush Ticket, let's get down to some family fare. Some actual family fare here for a second. And we're going to kick things off here. This is another reason I left this out of the Netflix portion earlier. There's a new musical fantasy film on Netflix called Jingle, Jangle, A Christmas Journey. And this tells the story of Jeronicus Jangle, played by Forrest Whitaker, who was a once happy and spirited inventor and toy maker who falls on hard times after being betrayed by his apprentice, played by Keegan-Michael Key. He shows up in some more shit. And 30 years later, Mr. Jangle's granddaughter arrives at his doorstep to help him regain his Christmas spirit in innovative and inventive ways. And this is a good, cute, imaginative, toe-tapping musical, y'all. Is it like great? I wouldn't say it's great, but it was really well done. Actually, no. I would say it's fucking great. What am I talking about here? I went into this thinking, it'll be alright. But no. Now that I really think back on this, yeah, I really did like Jingle Jangle. It's a little long. It's about 2 hours and 2 minutes. It could have stood to be about 15 minutes shorter, but nevertheless, it was still really good. The only reason I say that it's a little long is because for being a family movie, it might be a little long in the tooth for the little ones, but it's still, I think that the happenings in the movie will make you forget about it, and Keegan-Michael Key does a fantastic job in this joint too. So yeah, if you haven't already checked it out, Jingle Jangle, A Christmas Journey, now playing on Netflix. Do check it out right in time for the elite Christmas holiday, which hopefully this episode will be out in time for. Next up on this episode's Real Rush Ticket, going in line with the family theme, let's get to the first movie in the series first before we get to the second movie in the series. I'm actually going back a couple years, 7 years, 2013. We about to talk about The Croods, an animated adventure comedy that follows a family of prehistoric cavemen as they search for new dwellings that, you know, might not kill them ultimately due to surrounding forces in prehistoric caveman times. Little did I actually didn't know that. I didn't know the voice cast behind The Croods to begin with. I didn't know that it was my boy Nicolas Cage and Emma Frost and Ryan Reynolds and Catherine Keener, Cage and Keener being reunited from their 8mm days and shit. And Cloris Leachman as the grandmother and shit. Yeah. Yo. I thoroughly enjoyed the hell out of The Croods. I'm gonna keep this review nice and short. It's a great this is a great family comedy if you haven't seen it. Check out The Croods. It's on Netflix. They even got a TV series which I haven't checked out. I knew that it existed, but
boom. I'm a movie man. I ain't checking out too many TV series outside of The Sopranos. But The Croods, definitely check that out. Especially if you want to check out the next movie on this episode's Real Rush Ticket, The Croods: A New Age, which is the new sequel. I'm going to go ahead and call it the latest installment because I sense that there'll be a third one at some point. And this pretty much picks up right where the first one left off, where the Crude family ends up befriending the Betterment family, who, while showing the Croods their advanced and evolved ways, may have their own intentions for the family. And adding to the voice cast here, we have Leslie Mann and Peter Dinklage. And same as the first one, I thought that this was just as funny as the first one. I feel like this one's being not as appreciated as much as the first one. The grandmother, played by Cloris Leachman in the second one, had me dying way more than she did in the first one. And there's something else that I was forgetting about. I think it was I laughed too goddamn hard in the movie about this. This one's also a good stony movie too, y'all. But nevertheless, this, I think it's still in theaters. I think this is still one of those that's going to be in theaters for a minute before it completely hits on. No, it is on demand as well. But I saw this in Dolby Cinema. This was a good theater watch, and it wasn't too crowded for the kiddies either. Even for an opening weekend showing when I went to go see it. So yeah, The Croods: A New Age, well worth the ticket price, especially for gathering up the family safely to go see a movie over the holidays. The Croods: A New Age, check it out. And if you haven't seen the first one yet, do you need to see the first one before you see the second one? I'm going to go ahead and say yes. As much as you shouldn't have to for a family movie, it helps. I don't think it would hurt too much if you don't see it, but I'm going to err on the side of caution and say, yeah, go ahead and watch the first one first. So, yeah, Croods and The Croods: A New Age. Check them out.
Yowie! Just like fucking Saigon, eh, Slick? I was in junior high, dickhead.
Get out of here, all you! The whole roof's wired. It's gonna blow any second. Get out! Get downstairs! Get out! Get the fuck downstairs!
They made us, Bureau.
Ah! I'm on your side, you assholes!
Swing this thing back around. I'll nail that cocksucker.
Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker!
Leads us to next up on this episode's Real Rush Ticket. New period drama called The Last Vermeer. This is set in post-World War II era Europe. And this is based on the true story of Hans van Meegeren, played by Guy Pearce, a charismatic art dealer who was imprisoned after being accused of conspiring with the Nazis. However, a former Dutch resistance fighter, played by Claes Bang, his investigation into the accusations may paint, yeah! That's a CSI reference. May paint a different picture behind Van Meegeren's intentions entirely. And this is one of those movies that, like, if you don't know the tale behind Hans van Meegeren, don't look at it on Wikipedia or some shit before you go see the movie. It will completely ruin the movie. Because I almost clicked on his name, and I'm glad that I didn't. Because if you go to the synopsis that I gave you is not the shit that a lot of sites are giving you. A lot of sites are just straight up giving you exactly what the fuck happens in the movie, and it kills it. It kills the edge of your seatness that this thriller brings to the table. It was nice to see Claes Bang in a complete non-douchebag role for a change. And at the same time, Guy Pearce brings his A-list, like, slick, still kind of douchey, but you're still rooting for him at the same time, kind of good guy vibe to the table. Well done, period thriller. Well done, period thriller. If you can still find it playing in theaters, this was a good watch. This was a good one. And so I would definitely check it out, y'all. The last premiere. Check it where you can find it. Next up on this episode's Real Rush Ticket. Vanguard. New action Chinese film. Starring our boy Jackie Chan and reuniting him with his frequent collaborating director Stanley Tong. You know, like Rumble in the Bronx and shit like that. This time, this follows members of a covert security company headed by Jackie Chan as they try to protect an accountant from the world's deadliest mercenary organization. I'm not gonna lie. I had to fucking get that little blurb right there off of Google because I enjoyed this movie so much. Just the over-the-top Jackie Chan-ness type of shit that you usually get from overseas. And it's a good Stony movie too. And I watched it before last month's Friday night Bandit show. I enjoyed this movie so much that I completely forgot like the details of the movie. And it's one of those good movies. It's one of those good action, disconnect your brain movies in that sense that you don't have to remember the plot of the movie because what's going on screen is wowing enough to just please your overall synapses and senses to their very core. Especially since the fact that damn near everything that happens in this movie fucking happens in GTA. There's a scene in this movie where a dude has a combat machine gun. A big ass combat machine gun. He's just unloading on motherfuckers with it for like 5 minutes until the tip of the barrel turns all red hot and molten and shit. Just like you can do in GTA. Except the tip of the barrel doesn't turn hot and molten in GTA. That would be fucking awesome. There's a car chase that involves cars that have been painted and bullioned in 24 karat pure gold. Just like you could do in GTA. And they're racing around the city and shit, like doing awesome Fast and Furious shit through the cities and shit. Just like you could do in GTA. And I found myself literally screaming this throughout the entire movie. If there was anybody else in the theater, there might have been like, I know there was one, maybe two other people in the theater with me. I'm more than likely pissed them off. And if they happen to see this episode, I'm truly sorry for that. But I was enjoying the shit out of myself at this movie. Because I found myself, every time some awesome shit was popping off on TV, on the fucking screen, on the theater screen, I found myself literally going, just like fucking GTA, just like fucking GTA, just like fucking GTA. And maybe that's why, maybe this is the movie that is ultimately responsible for why you haven't seen me in over a month. Because as soon as I got home that night from that night Bandit show, I started playing GTA, and I don't remember much of shit until like yesterday. That's a long time. It's all been documented in my GTA gameplay. So whatever I say on that, there's my fucking life diary. Vanguard was fucking awesome. If you can still catch it in theaters, you know what to do. But Jackie Chan's getting a little old, so he's not like doing as much shit, as much crazy shit as he used to do back in the day. But it's still Jackie Chan, and he's still got a great cast of supporters around him that can still help the movie be awesome Jackie Chan, Stanley Tong, greatness shit. So, yeah, Vanguard. Yeah. I will be getting that on 4K disc or Blu-ray, whatever I can fucking find at highest then, because, woo! That might be the next shit that I try to recreate in GTA. That'll be pretty fucking easy. You just follow me around in GTA for a fucking day. But I'm not refilming, actual shit. Everything that you've been seeing throughout this episode from GTA, by the way, had to be actually, like, timed and curated and played in game time, and had to do it at certain times throughout the day to make sure that, like, I was getting certain shots right against daylight and night time and shit like that. And I'll get into details later, but I hope you're enjoying everything that you've been seeing thus far from GTA.
Here we are, after today's double feature at AMC. The parking lot now dark, looking like a wasteland of shopping carts and mist. Us having missed it all since we were inside the movie theater. Never inside the mall, but still had the mask on at all times inside the theater. Hashtag, wear your mask. Hashtag, happy holidays, motherfuckers. Have fun, y'all. Love J-Dub. Back to the Real Rush.
Next up on this episode's Real Rush Ticket, another long-awaited movie that I've been waiting to see damn near all year. We finally got it just a couple weeks ago. And this joint is called The Climb. We were supposed to see this. This was supposed to drop back in like April, I believe, or March, right after theaters shut down. But we finally got to see it. This is based on the same short film of the same name by the stars and one of the directors, Michelangelo Covino, who wrote and directed it, and his co-star Kyle Marvin, who co-wrote it with him. And this follows, I'm not sure if it's a true account or not, but they star as two best friends, and it follows their friendship over the course of several years. And their friendship is dysfunctional at best. Like, Mike's character is just arrogant and fucking narcissistic and just fucked up most of the time, while Kyle is like loving and caring, but almost to a fault. But it shows their friendship throughout the years through love and loss and ups and downs and function and dysfunction. And it's a fucking another Rush main event. Another Rush main event, y'all. Outstanding directorial debut, like feature film debut from Mr. Covino here. And the screenplay in this is moi. And the ultimate message, which doesn't give anything away from the movie by me saying this, and it makes it, I should hope that it makes you want to see it more. I love the message that it drives home, that how the right people can come into your life for the wrong reasons, and yet the wrong people can come into your life for the right reasons. And if that doesn't twist your shit up, I don't know what else will. And this is a good holiday film, as a portion of it is set right the hell around Christmas. If you can find it playing in theaters, do not miss this. I hope that this doesn't get slept on for some type of, at least some type of screenplay consideration. So keep this on your radar, award guides out there who might be watching this. Man, The Climb. All y'all watching this, though, check that shit out. Do we have any misses on this episode? Even though it's quite rare that that does happen, but I don't believe we do. As last but most certainly not least on this episode's Real Rush Ticket, we got True to the Game 2. Now, we saw the first True to the Game in September of 2017. So that was in season 1 of The Real Rush. We didn't get the review it here on camera. I thought the first one was, I thought it was decent. The quality of it, like the visual quality of it, wasn't the great. It looked like it was a made-for-TV movie. But it still pulled off as a decent film. It was actually one of Nelson Ellis's final roles. So not to give too much about the first film away, I walked away from the first film saying, it wasn't bad. Would I rush out to buy it on Blu-ray? No. But would I mind... Would I watch it again? Absolutely. I would watch it again if it was on or something. So it gave me that, it left me with that kind of impression. So when I found that True to the Game 2 was dropping, like, alright, I'll go see it. It'll probably be just as good as the first one, right? Was it? Find out. This new drama continues Gina's story. That's set not too long after the first movie, as she becomes the target of her former lover's killer. And that's all I want to give away about it, just in case anybody out there has seen the first one. Or doesn't want, or just in general doesn't want anything given away. So again, I had to stress this point. I walked away from the first one like, alright, that was a decent movie. Cool. This joint has me like, where the fuck is True to the Game 3, and I want it now. Now. This movie was dope as hell, y'all. This movie was dope as shit. Man. Especially by the time, I mean, it's infuriating at times. Like, Andre Fuller brings his fucking just mad heel to the table. And Erica Peoples, still fine as hell. God damn. Holding it down as Gina. Vivica Fox, still holding down as Suge up in this joint. I mean, yo. It's not often that the sequel is better than the first. As many of, as you know, time has told. But this is definitely one that proves it wrong. And this is definitely a movie that also proves that given a bigger budget, quality matters. You could definitely tell the difference in the quality between the first one and the second one. And it's refreshing. So refreshing. Regardless of the quality, though. The fact that I saw the first one and the second one at the same theater, AMC Potomac Mills, the fact that we get to see major chains promoting independent black films or independent, you know, films of any race. You don't get to see many independent films at major chains, especially independently black films. Great to see this kind of shit happening up at AMC. I'm hoping that it's happening in a way that's across the nation. But nevertheless, True to the Game 2. Fucking off the chain. I can't wait for the third one. There's got to be a third one. There's got to be a third one. There's got to be a third one. And this should make you want to see the first one. You got to see the first one for the second one to even make sense. So, if you can still, well, alright, so get the first one on Blu-ray. Get the Blu-ray. If you can still find True to the Game 2 playing in theaters, check that shit out. And I don't think you'll be disappointed, y'all. Because this shit blew me the fuck away. Man. That's another Rush main event. That's another Rush main event, y'all.
Hold on. He's with me. Merry Christmas, Argyle.
Merry Christmas, man.
And if this is their idea of Christmas, I got to be around for their New Year's shit.
And that, my friends, is a wrap It is now Tuesday morning as I say that shit. 1:25 in the morning. If you can't tell, I'm not used to talking straight for however long it's been, what, like an hour and a half now? Thank you for sticking with this whole episode. I had somebody tell me that they watched my last episode in its entirety. Thank you. Before we get that, as I say that this is a wrap for the 2K20 Christmas special of The Real Rush, episode 106, right here on YouTube. Just want to take a moment and thank everybody for supporting The Real Rush through the entirety of this year and sticking with us, even though I haven't been, as consistent with the episodes over the last couple weeks and shit. But thanks for sticking with The Rush. We got more shit coming your way, y'all. Because there's got to be an episode 107 given what's coming over the next couple weeks here. Well, first and foremost, I didn't have this written down, but I want to say that coming up on episode 107, we will have the review for Greenland. I had forgotten to write this down because it actually dropped last weekend, but didn't get to it in time, so we'll be getting that review to you. That was supposed to drop in theaters, but we'll also be bringing to you the reviews for News of the World, Tom Hanks, looking to contend for that Best Actor shit. So we're bringing that to you. We got The Dissident. The Dissident. I found a couple theaters that will be showing Pinocchio. We'll be bringing the review of Soul to you. Unfortunately, that won't be in theaters. That will be on Disney Plus. But at least this time, there won't be any $30 premiere access fee. I still want my motherfucking complimentary 4K disc of Mulan for that shit, Disney, because that was ridiculous. Like, I want some shit on my tax return or something, man. We're gonna have Soul for you. The third, or one of my three of this year's most highly anticipated films. If you saw my post the other day, one was Tenet. The second is coming in a couple days, but the third one is this one right here, Promising Young Woman. Not only is this dropping this week, but we got tickets to an advanced showing of this motherfucker, y'all. So we'll probably have seen that before this episode even drops, but we'll have that reviewed before this episode right here drops, but we'll have it reviewed for you in time for episode, we'll have that review for you in episode 107. And last but most certainly not least, the third most anticipated out of my three, and well, not to rank them all. Alright, there's no ranking going on here because they're three just like Tenet. I couldn't wait for that shit, and then it rocked my fucking brain. And then Promising Young Woman, I can't wait for that shit, and I can't wait for it to rock my fucking brain. And then last but most certainly not least, the third, to round them out, Wonder Woman 1984, y'all. I've been waiting for that shit, can't wait for it to rock my brain. Promising Young Woman was supposed to drop on my birthday. Now we get to get it for fucking Christmas. Wonder Woman 1984 was supposed to drop like fucking back in June. Now we get the good shit. You heard what I said, goddammit. Now the question is, we getting the shit. You can get it one of two ways. You can either get it in the theater or you can get it on HBO Max. Which way are you going to be? That's unprecedented. You can either, now you gotta have HBO Max to see it, but that's the only way you can see it. It's not coming out on digital. You can only see it in the theater, or you can only see it on HBO Max. So I want to know, which way are you going to be going with that? You know which way my happy ass is going to be going with that. With my merry mad movie professor being ass. You know where I'll be to go see some Wonder Woman 1984 when it drops this Christmas weekend. But I want to know where you going to be. And we're going to bring that review to you next episode. But in the meantime, as always, keep your eyes open and your eyes peeled for the bandits. Check out StagecoachTC.com for everything Stagecoach. Thanks to everybody for supporting Stagecoach throughout this rough ass year we made it through 2K20, y'all. So you bet your sweet asses we gonna have some more shit coming for y'all in 2K21. So check us out, StagecoachTC.com, and on Facebook, Stagecoach Theater Company. We the ones in Ashburn, Virginia, baby. As well as, don't forget to keep your eyes open for my people's Rated S, man, on Facebook and YouTube. You see that logo right there? That means that's some hardcore shit coming your way. Your boy's proud of Rated S right there. I'm one of the fucking, the cerebral force behind that shit. So you know, some crazy shit. So yeah, we on Facebook and we on YouTube. Check for the link in the description, y'all. And as always, as far as the rush goes, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, any shit like that, feel free to type those on into the comments section of this very YouTube page where you're reviewing this week's episode right here, right now. To everybody who's not only subscribed to The Real Rush thus far, but has maintained their subscription throughout these slow times, thank you for having done so. If you haven't done so, what the hell are you waiting for? You want to be the first to know when your boy drops a new episode, especially since the previews haven't been plenty for these last couple episodes. Especially for an episode like this, you want to be the first to know when some shit like the Christmas special for this year drops, y'all. And don't forget to, you know, spread the word of The Real Rush like everybody does. Love. And hopefully not the fucking vid. Spread love and the rush, not the vid, y'all. So, you know, socially distance, hug a motherfucker, and tell him about the rush. Let him know that your man is fucking craziest goddamn movie critic, but this ain't your average movie review show, as you've seen throughout this whole show. But not only that, but that The Real Rush does have replay value. Any movie that you want to know what your man Dub thought of and get a good, honest-to-God review on, all you gotta do is go up to the top of the YouTube page right here and type in quotation marks, The Real Rush, followed by, outside of quotation marks, the name of the movie that you're looking for, and then boom! Instant movie review on demand for you, because The Real Rush and your man John Dub got y'all covered for life, son! And as I got to do it with my finger today, I don't have a wine. And as always, you can follow your man John Dub on Instagram. Damn, I forgot the name of the platform. Because I ain't on it much these days, except for this shit. You can follow your man John Dub on Instagram for my live movie check-ins and updates as they occur. And you can follow your man at JDub Champion, hashtag The Real Rush. And for your man John Dub here at The Real Rush, thank you for joining us once again here on The Real Rush for the 2K20 episode. 2K20 Christmas special episode 106 right here on YouTube. I'm gonna go hydrate these pipes because goddamn, y'all, that's been some shit. But in the meantime, happy holidays everybody. Enjoy yourself. Don't do too much that your man here wouldn't do, which ain't too much by itself, but you know, just maintain, you know, a safe and healthy atmosphere, you know. Take care of yourself, take care of your loved ones and shit. And if you ain't, you know, like staying safe and healthy, hopefully this episode has provided you with some infotainment to help you on the mend, to heal you from whatever may ail you and shit. But nevertheless, don't let the weight of the world get you down on your shoulders. This is the happy time of year. This is the most wonderful time of the year. And it truly is. So get in the Christmas spirit, y'all. Chill out. Have fun, y'all. Love J-Dub. And we'll see you next weekend. Merry Christmas, y'all. And peace. And
No fucking shit, lady. Does it sound like I'm ordering a pizza?
seek them. Gain the power.